This research report suggests that India would be the third largest economy in the world by 2027, that the size of India's economy would be $7.1 trillion by 2031. Now that, Sanju Verma, the BJP and the Modi government can claim is a phenomenal achievement. From $3.1 trillion in FY22 by FY32, 2032, the size of India's GDP expected to go up to $7.9 trillion. You know, the Modi government can say, if all this is indeed to happen, this would be a big vindication of the work that they've done in the last 9 years.
Rahul, thank you for having me. Well, first of all, when India does well, we should all be happy. So to the extent that Morgan Stanley or anybody else is saying that India is going to do well in the future, we already know India's future is bright, provided we have the right policies and provided we carry all Indians with us. Now, mind you, we're talking about doubling of the GDP. I don't know if you remember that in the 10 years of UPA, GDP went from about $600 billion to about $2.5 billion. So there's a huge jump there. This is not going to be as big a jump, but you know, the reason for that is also that the economy is bigger. It grows more slowly compared to previous times when the economy was smaller. But beyond the big numbers, you know, I'm glad that you guys are looking at some international news these days. But because when something like, say, democracy index or press freedom index and all these things come up, I don't see exclusive debates on those individual reports, which don't paint a very good picture of what is happening in India. But be that as it may, let us just simply focus on this particular report about the GDP growing to becoming, you know, the third largest in the world, which has been the case for a while. The projections have been going on for a while, and there are reasons for that. And the reason is, you know, between, say, 2014 to now, you've added about 200 million people. When population grows, that adds to GDP. And then, of course, if the economy is growing, that adds to the per capita income as well. So far, so good. So this is one thing. But what is happening inside the economy, that is to be seen. If you look at different elements of an economy, whether it's consumption, investment, then you have government spending, you have exports and imports, there you see...
Okay, so we'll come to this one by one. You've laid the foundation for this debate by throwing at Sanju Verma the argument that growth is a journey. It's not as if India was degrowing under the UPA. It was growing close to 10% for several years under Manmohan Singh's watch, and that the economy has been growing forward. You've taken the economic baton and run with it. It's not as if the economy wasn't doing well under the UPA. It's doing better, and as India grows as a country, more people get added to the population. Very naturally, as other countries are contracting, India will at some point in time overtake them, and this is not something that you alone can take credit for. Sanju Verma.
Okay, Rahul, first and foremost, let me congratulate Narendra Modi government for doing a phenomenal job in ensuring that we notched a GDP growth of 7.2% for financial year 2020-23, when even the most optimistic analysts said India may not grow more than 6.4 or 6.5%. And the big news is that even the FY21-22 numbers have been hiked from the erstwhile 8.7% GDP growth to 9.1%. So for your audience, they need to know last financial year we grew at 9.1%. This financial year we grew at 7.2%. And the most important thing is this, that large parts of the world are in recession. IMF says that Germany and UK are likely to grow at minus 0.1 and 0.7%. This year we have grown at 7.2%, China grew at 2.9%, Germany grew at 1.9%, US grew at 2.1%, France grew at 2.6%. The limited point is, while it's not fair to compare apples with oranges, what makes the India growth story stellar is the fact we were always number 3 in terms of purchasing power. But here we are talking of nominal GDP growth. And in terms of nominal GDP growth, under the Congress in 2012-13, Rahul, we were ranked number 11. Last year, we overtook the United Kingdom, our erstwhile colonizers, in nominal GDP terms to become the 5th largest economy. Today, we are roughly at $3.5 trillion. And I tell you why this is important is because to hit the $1 trillion mark in absolute terms, India took 60 years. The next $1 trillion were added in 12 years. Whereas the Modi government added $1.5 trillion to India's economy within the first 5 years of its dispensation. And despite two debilitating black swan events, we had the corona pandemic and then we had the Ukraine-Russia conflict. We had oil prices touching $137 a barrel, though of course now they've come down significantly. Despite various headwinds, the fact, I always tell people, forget GDP. There are indicators beyond GDP. If you look at gross fixed capital formation, because most economists say that gross fixed capital formation decides the amount of investment that has been added to the economy, the net value created in the economy. It also indicates the capacity utilization of the private